Good morning. Good morning. How is everybody this morning? Good morning, good morning. It's a beautiful morning. It's a morning, it's a morning. You know, the fun thing is that I was up at 5 and I got distracted. I am preparing medicinal henna for healing, and I feel like I'm, you know, the character in the movies that's brewing the tea and gonna make the medicine, and it's this magical thing, and I've been humming to myself and saying the prayers over the medicine, the herbs, and honoring the herbs, and then I went, oh no, I forgot daily devotional. I can't forget daily devotional. So here we are. I'm gonna quickly do this and then go back doing that. So what do our cards say today? Today is the froggy. Look at the frog. Clearing, cleansing, and healing. That's what the frog tells us. I love the rain in this, like the rain on the frog. I know somebody whose primary totem is the frog, and she's like, why the frog? I'm like, because frogs are amazing. The frog and the water element are almost inseparable. The frog spends its first months of life entirely within its healing element, and then emerges to rest on land. But no matter how earthly the frog becomes, its need for cleansing and rejuvenation is regular. Frogs tend to become overworked and undernourished, so it's vital that such sensitive creatures practice self-care. This card serves as a reminder that water helps us cleanse, forgive, and release. Time to dive in. Frogs aren't meant to carry a heavy load. My frog friend. When in balance, clear energy and enthusiasm for life. When out of balance, depleted, running on empty. To bring into balance, rivers, oceans, lakes, and bathhouses. Love that. Don't forget to rejuvenate. That's important. I was going to put that somewhere. And anyway. Okay, we're only going to do one card today because, again, I'm in the middle of concocting magical medicines. So today's card, I decided to just choose the Medicine Heart Oracle, Mare Tet-ou, I think. When facing a choice, consider the responses available to you. What response would fill you with spiritual power? If you can yet sense a constructive, spiritually aligned pathway, shift your attitude to enter a state of positive expectancy from which greater creative resources will become apparent to you. There is a way through a current dilemma that will open your heart to joy, but first you need to disengage from fear or doubt. Give yourself permission to determine what your own inner state of being shall be. On the religious and healing practices of African Caribbean voodoo, an important distinction is made between that which should be tied or bound, mare, and that which should be left open, ouvrir. I apologize if anybody who speaks these languages natively. I do not. Novice women attending voodoo ceremonies tie a knot in their hair or their clothing as a reminder. This closes the energy circuits and prevents possession by the spirits summoned within the work. For 40 days during a period of training, voodoo initiates wear a tied headscarf and are reminded by their spiritual mother to Mare Tet-ou, or tie your head. In ancient Egyptian tradition celebrating power, mystery, and magic of the Isis goddess, her protective amulet is the knot, known as the buckle, girdle, or knot of Isis, is another example of psychic use of knots as protection. There is a tremendous wisdom inherent in this understanding, especially for those naturally tending towards sensitive, permissive, or inclusive, or psychically permeable psychically permeable constitution. On the contemporary spiritual path, the soul is encouraged to focus on opening. We are encouraged to open our hearts, open our minds, to open creative possibilities. Yet, the soul needs containers, balance, boundaries in order to heal, grow, and awaken. There needs to be understanding of that which nourishes, is wise to allow to flow, and that which needs to be clamped, cut off. Wisdom is expressed in balance. You know, I could go on and on and on about understanding what boundaries are. I feel like in all of the stuff that I do, all of the teaching of the basic stuff I do, I talk about balance and protection and grounding and understanding when to be open and when not to be open all of the time. And if you'll go back to this week, I talk with Safriana about energy sensitivity, empathy, and earth sense. And one of the things that many empaths especially come to me with is how do I not feel everything? And we talk about their feelers, their empathic feelers that every empath has. And we talk about learning how to manage that, learning how to navigate that path. And energy sensitives, it's similar but different. Like, how do we navigate not picking up all the energy of everything? And the traditions of the voodoo tradition, I was very blessed as a child that I had somebody in my life that taught me a lot about voodoo. And I was never afraid of it because I had somebody who explained and mentored and taught in a very compassionate, understanding way. And every tradition has practitioners that understand that where in Western culture we just talk about opening the heart. Just open your heart. Just open your heart. Just open yourself wide open. Feel in. Get all the things. And I understand where that comes from, ironically. We have a very large patriarchal society that tells us that we're too closed off, right? And as people are emerging and growing and learning how to be more themselves, yes, opening up really is important, but learning to open up where you're grounded and you're protected and you're shielded. And in many Aboriginal and Indigenous cultures, and voodoo is very much a combination belief system that comes from influences of South Africa and influences of South America and influences of the Western Christian religion, and many of the variations therein. There is a knowingness that even as you open up, and each teacher is responsible to make sure their student is protected as best they can. And so I harp and I preach a lot. I do. I preach a lot about learning how to protect yourself, the power of mind, learning how to discipline your mind. I was watching a podcast the other day that I have found myself several times the last 2 days talking about it, where discipline of mind is something that I had to learn, and I got reinforcement in my life on how to manage discipline of mind. And it is still probably the number one thing that I have to work with students on, is discipline of mind. And discipline of mind carries then into discipline in action and discipline in all these other things that they're wanting to learn to manage. And I don't generally use the word control, because the only thing you can control is your mind. The only thing that you can have, your ultimate weapon is your mind. Your ultimate tool is your mind. Your ultimate protection is your mind. Your ultimate protection is your mind. And if you think of what the brain is, it's a gooey mass of gelatinous whatever, but it is filled with synapses and electricity, and it does these amazing things. And no matter where you activate in your body, in body of 9, whether you're an 8, which is your root a 4, which is your womb, 2, your center here, 6, center of your heart right beneath your rib cage there, your sternum, 3, right here, your manubrium, 1, right underneath your chin, this amazing, powerful place right here, 7, the middle of your forehead, 5, the very top, this crowning place right here. All of these places, when you have power of mind, when you have discipline in your mind, you can access any of your natural number better, more fuller. And when talking about protections, I mean, today's card, in Mare Tet-ou, or tie your head. This card talks about wearing the 40 days of training, wearing a headscarf. You're reminded to tie your head. It is the celebration and the reminder that tying of the knots reminds you physically, in the physical world, to make sure that you have the protections in your mental world. There's so many layers in this card, and I haven't even read, like, most of the cards in this book have like 4 or 5 pages. So we're not going to get to all of them this first go around. I will probably do these cards again. But there is a tremendous wisdom inherent in this understanding, especially for those who tend towards sensitive, permissive, inclusive, or psychically permeable constitutions. If I go back to the frog, right? The frog card is very much about frogs tend to become overworked and undernourished because they are sensitive creatures, and that's the frog. So the frog and Mare Tet-ou, right? These 2 cards, they're talking about making sure that you have power of mind, making sure that you know what it is you need to do to protect your sensitive spirit, physically as well as mentally, the power of your mind. The power of learning when to say no, what are your boundaries, what are the things that you need to protect yourself in this world that tells you, well, if you're a spiritual person, you're just wide open. No. I really encourage everybody to go back and watch that podcast that I did with Safriana at the beginning of the week. I linked it into the YouTube channel here. Try to figure out, like, if you've not had your download, if you haven't done anything else with me, cool. Go look at that and look and see, are you an energy sensitive? Are you an empath? Do you have earth sense? Do you have a combo of some of those? And that will give you a lot of information just in that little video on what are some of the things that you can do to protect yourself, to make the world less overwhelming. And I think I'm working on the idea of doing some kind of like tutorial, something remotely, because I know there's a lot of people that are remote and they like to take little workshops and stuff. And I thought maybe keep doing a little workshop that's inexpensive, that is just hones in on just the gifts, to give those of you who would like to exercise that power of mind with your energy sensitivity, your empathy, your earth sense. But I think this card is really much a reinforcer of the understanding that so many traditions around the world give us tools if we're willing to pay attention. And these tools can be physical reminders of ancient teachings. And protecting yourself and learning where your boundaries are with your gifts in communication with other people is extremely valuable. I'm energy sensitive. I tell people that all the time. This is no big secret. And my energy sensitivity means that I really have to be very disciplined. If I'm angry or if I'm upset, I don't touch electronics at all. Like, it's not a good idea. I can take a $600 phone, I can take a $1,000 computer and make it inert. And it is a brick and it does nothing very, very easily. So I transmute a lot of energy. I do a lot of creative stuff. When I'm focusing my energy, so I started this daily devotional where I was talking about, I've been making henna medicine, And I've been working with the herbs, I've been singing in the kitchen, and the singing, the joy of singing, that sound, that vibration is amazing, joyful, and energetic. And I am feeling the herbs, and I am feeling the combination of different herbs together. And in that exercise, I'm using my gift, I'm using my energy sensitivity to pull in and imbue and strengthen the naturalness of whatever those medicines are and weave them together in combination to make them a powerful healing medicine. And that comes with a combination of my earth sense and my energy sensitivity. But when I do that, I also make sure I have my tea, so I'm drinking protein, so I'm making sure that I'm in my body. I make sure that I don't do any of this kind of work when I'm tired and depleted and I don't feel so good, because I have to protect. I have to transmute, but I also have to protect myself. And the power of mind gives you that discipline to stay focused on that thing. And something else that I'm not shy about telling people is I'm neurodivergent. I have ADHD and I have autism. And one of the ADHD things is the impression that there is a lack of focus or that there is a lack of attention. And that's a misinformation delivery. I have a lot of attention to a lot of different things, and that's the problem. That I can pay attention to the minute detail of all of the things at one time. And power of mind gives me the tools that I can take the disability that I've had my whole life, until recently not diagnosed, and I can take that energy, attention, and I can focus it on something through the exercises of power of mind that I've been using my whole life. And there are a lot of different books on how to harness your power of mind, but in the magical circles and in spiritual circles, power of mind is not talked about. Instead, just like this book says, we talk about opening the heart. In the contemporary spiritual path, the soul is encouraged to focus on opening. We are encouraged to open our hearts, open our minds, open our creative possibilities. Yet, the soul needs containers, balance, boundaries in order to grow, in order to awaken. There needs to be an understanding of that which nourishes and is wise to allow to flow, and that which needs to be clamped off. The wisdom is expressed in balance, and that's learned. I don't know anybody that just figures that out right away. I certainly didn't. I know that there's an impression sometimes that I got it all figured out. Oh, hell no. I have days where I'm way out of balance. And those are days I don't see clients. It's really important today, I think, to think of frog and to think of protections. Think of tying the knots to protect yourself. I use a real simple exercise with some of my clients sometimes, especially younger teenagers who are really struggling with all the hormones and all the energy and all of their gifts. Take some ribbon, take 3 ribbons, 3 different colors if you can, and weave them together in a braid and carry it in your pocket. And when you feel like you're overwhelmed and you're stressed, go to the bathroom, take 5 minutes, unweave it, and then sit and really braid it back together. And as you braid it back together, go, this protects me, this encircles me, this keeps me protected, this helps me have the power to control my own gifts. And there's a lot of different prayers you can do with that. But anyway, so that's today, and I hope you all have a beautiful day, my friends. Blessings to you, and I will see you in prayer again soon. Blessed be.